Welcome to Chapter 3, Components of Cryptography. So what are we going to cover today? Components, the roles of the key, algorithms and ciphers, and managing the keys. All this is very important to how we're going to be using everything through the next couple of weeks. Just to give you an overview of cryptology, where it fits. We have cryptanalysis. We're not going to really get into that until later. And then we're looking at symmetric and asymmetric. So you have an idea of where we stand when we're working with cryptology today. So some terminology. Some of this is a review from last week, but we're still just trying to go over it and we're learning it. So we're going to go over some of the key components again. So basically, encryption, it's meant to conceal information. Concealment doesn't mean it's hidden, it just means it can't be read. It could be out in plain sight, but we just can't use it. Plain text and clear text, basically that's just the original message as we discovered. The cipher text is when it's been transformed and makes it difficult to read. Algorithms, they're just a formula that's going to be used to do the encrypting process. That's the middle, if you want. You have the plain text, the algorithms, and then you have with the cipher text. The algorithms tell it what it's going to be doing, what cipher it's going to be using. And the key, that's that special information that both parties have to know how to unencode it. Very important, the key. We're going to get into that at the end of the class. So substitution ciphers. These are some of the ones that we've been looking at in the past, the Foursquare, Playfair. Caesar ciphers were talked about. We'll show that in a second. And just some scrambled ciphers. So if you look at the Caesar cipher, we just do a three-letter shift. So if we want to shift the word bad, as you can see, it comes out E, A, and then the D becomes the G. So that's all it is. And the substitute scrambled is using this key over here. And you can see that we're going to, the scrambled starts with the B and equals the E, the A equals Q, and the F, and the D equals R. So that just gives you an idea. Again, this is just a overview of the Caesar cipher, how it looks. Shift. Now, Caesar cipher usually shifted 3 places to the right. As you can see here, this is our alphabet. We start with A, B, C, blah, blah, blah. If you notice, A starts under the D. So here, when it was being used in the wartime, Caesar didn't have to tell anyone what it was. All his generals knew it was 3 places to the right. And it simply would work like this. If you have the letter T, come up to T, it becomes the Q. If you have an H, it becomes the E. And if you have the E, it becomes the B, and so on. And so, you know, it was an easy code to figure out. You didn't need much with it. You just knew you shifted 3 places to the right. Over time, it took several hundred years, but they figured out how to break it. But at the time, it was very effective. You didn't need anything. If we're going to write this out in mathematic terms, it just means that the X is equal to the shift. So that's all it is. And the 26 stands for our alphabet. So you have an idea. You have Rot 13. This is an interesting shift. It's a take on Caesar's cipher. Instead of shifting it 3 places, you shift it 13 places. It's relatively a weak encryption. It's more used for fun because if you look at it, what it actually does is just cut the alphabet in half. So instead of A equals N, or if you transfer hello, H equals U, L, the E equals R, L, and so on. But it works both ways. So if you have a letter like us, it's going to be H, F. So it's just a simple, easy way. Cut the alphabet in half, slide it under, and it's just easy to use. So Rot 13 is something, it's very easy to break, but it's effective. Then we have the Vigenère Cipher. This is another substitute cipher. The only difference with this one is it uses multiple alphabets. So across the top here is what we're going to encrypt. So in this case, we're going to spell the word feedback across this. And we're going to use this key down here, 3241, and that's going to just keep repeating. So we have 3241 right here. So if you notice the first letter, F, we marry it up with 3. So that is going to be C. Second letter is E, and that one marries up with the 2, and that is C. Third letter is E, that we marry up with 4, and that's an A. The next is a D, and that we marry up with 1, which is C. So the first part of that is CCAC. And we move to back. So B, we start over again. We go to 3 is a Y. A, right here, and we come down to 2, and that is a Y. C, we come down to 4, which is a Y. And K, we come down to 1, which is a J. So this is going to be coded as this CCACYYJ. That's just how it works. Here's a quick video on how some more information about coding with the Vigenère. So that gives you an idea of how it works, the Vigenère cipher. Let's take a look at algorithms. Let's take a look at algorithms. Easy to use, ease of use. They should be easy. We don't want them overly complicated. Reliable. It works the same time every time. And security. Keeps information safe. That's what we're trying to do here. Keep everything as safe as possible. So that's an important part of algorithms. All right, let's take a look at this one. We saw this the other day. Let's see. So as you can see up here in the red, This is all our information. This is what tells us how the algorithm is going to work. This is where we put in whatever numbers we want, but in this case, P is the first prime number, Q is the second prime number, the modulus. That's the key we give to the other people so they know what to do. The public exponent, again, that goes out, but the bottom one, D, is the one that we keep private. So your public key, which we can give out to people, is the E and the Q. If you look over here, we have the public key, E and U. So we're giving out these two right here to our other people. So we can just give this out over the internet, doesn't matter. The encryption function is encrypt T, so we're going to take T to exponent of E. And we use PQ to do this, and that's going to equal T exponent 17 times the mod 323, which is right there. And then to decrypt it, it's just the opposite. We're going to use all this, and it comes back to the decrypted code is 1, 2, 3. So this is just an example of a really simple algorithm. So let's talk a little bit more about Kerckoffs' 6 principles. He discusses these. This is what every algorithm should have in it. The system should be unbreakable in practice. You never want to build something knowing it's going to be break. So you're going to do your best to make sure it's unbreakable. Obviously, people are going to attempt to break it, and if they have enough money and time, it will be broken. But the goal of any algorithm should never be, oh, it's good enough. It should be unbreakable. The second principle, design of the system should not require secrecy, and compromise of the system should not inconvenience the correspondence. So basically, you just want to be able to send it out, hand it to them, or whatever the case is. You don't want to make it difficult to get to or figure anything out. The key should be memorable, without notes, and it should be easy changeable. So a word, a number, something that you could just tell the person so they know what it is. The cryptogram should be transmittable by telegraph. Well, this is going back in the earlier days. Now, obviously, we don't really worry about that too much, but back in the time, this was an important part. So you tried to make it as simple as possible. You didn't want it overcomplicated. I think that's really what translates it to today is you want to make it simple. The apparatus or document should be portable and operable by one single person. You don't need a team of people. That's all this is saying. Someone gets it, they know what they need to, how to encrypt it and de-encrypt it, and just makes life easy. That's the whole goal of what these principles are. The system should be easy and neither require knowledge of a long list of rules or involving mental strain. So if you looked at Caesar's, shift to the left. Shift to the right 3 places. Simple. Vigenère, as you see, it takes a little more work because you're having those 26 letters of the alphabet so 26 alphabets you're using. So, but this is just Kerckoffs, and in the time this was important. As we've changed up here, if we break down these rules, we still want to keep it as simple as possible. We don't want to inconvenience the people, and we want it easy, changeable, something that we can change on the fly. Makes it nice and simple. So what is the perfect key length? Let's talk about keys. Obviously, the longer the key length, the stronger it is. But sometimes you don't have the time or effort or money to make a really strong key. So you're going to keep it short, but you want to have some ideas of what's going on. We looked at this the other day also. If we look at the 40-bit, which is 5 characters long, you can see how long it takes to have someone decipher your code. As we get up to 128-bit, you can see the time, how much it's changed. It went from minutes to years. Even the 64-bit, this is 16 characters in length. So it depends on what you're trying to do and how much effort you have. You should always try to make it unbreakable, but sometimes you're not going to be able to create it. So here's the strength of them. We kind of looked at this the other day. It just allows us to look at the key length. Obviously, the longer the key, the better is what we're trying to achieve. So we want long key length. So what did we cover today? Components, the key, the algorithm, the difference between plain text and ciphertext. Again, the key, how important is that? The algorithm, that's the part that does all the encryption for us. It is the programming. It's the part that gets the nitty and gritty. We put them on how they all work together. What are the roles of them all? What's the role of the key? How important that key is. The algorithm. How does that come together? And managing the keys. So that was a chapter summary for chapter 3. So I hope you read the chapter. I'll be covering chapter 4 also. Have a wonderful day.